Some things I see when people come into the office is we'll be reviewing life insurance policies and they'll tell me that they have a certain type of life insurance policy. And what I'm actually seeing is not what they're telling me they have. So the question that's being asked here today is universal life insurance, whole life insurance? And we're going to get into that now. What I see from time to time is people will say, I have a whole life insurance policy. But when we sit down and we actually look at what they have, and I almost know when I'm asking them the questions, because I'll ask, what carrier is that with, or who are you using? Because those are important questions to have the answers to. I'll know almost automatically that what they have is not whole life insurance because the carrier they're working with doesn't offer that. Universal life insurance is not whole life insurance. And I think the easiest way to go through that is to really talk about what universal life insurance is. There's really 4 types of universal life insurance to add some complexity to the subject matter. And that's what we'll talk about now. The first type of universal life insurance that we see is something called guaranteed universal life insurance. And what that really is, in the most simplest of terms, is permanent term insurance. The idea is that I'm going to have a death benefit that I will leave to my heirs, but that death benefit is going to be for the smallest amount of premium that I could possibly pay. The next type of universal life insurance is really the old style universal life insurance. It might be referred to out there as a current assumption universal life insurance policy. And what that means is that part of your premium goes in and pays the insurance cost, and the other part of your premium goes in to a separate bucket that grows cash value. And that cash value growth is driven by today's interest rates. So the reason why we have the first universal life insurance, that guaranteed universal life insurance that I talked about, was because when these original universal life insurance policies came out, you can imagine people wanted them. Interest rates were very, very high. But what's happened over the last few decades is interest rates have been coming down and down and down, right? To these very, very low interest rates. It made these policies almost impossible to maintain. What happened to clients is they actually got a bill in the mail later in life telling them that they needed to put more premium into them. We can see why that might be a problem, right? And so the insurance companies have moved over to this guaranteed universal life insurance policy. But then they came along with a variable universal life policy. Well, what is that, right? The variable universal life policy, again, part of the premium you pay goes and pays the insurance cost, and the other piece goes into what's called a separate account. And that separate account is driven by market returns. So think about having some of your money go into a separate bucket that's now invested in the stock market. Well, back when these policies were created, stock markets were what? They were booming, right? And people said, why would I want the lower returns of maybe a universal life policy or a whole life policy? I want to get these huge market returns that could happen. So one of the things that I see, and it's unfortunate when I'm reviewing these policies for clients, is when they started out, they started funding these policies, but the markets up and down has been detrimental to some of these policies. So when the economy, takes a real sharp downturn, their cash values drop. And that becomes a problem later on to sustain these policies. So to answer that problem, the insurance companies came up with another type of product. It's called an indexed universal life insurance policy. And again, a piece of that premium is going to pay insurance costs, and the remainder of that premium that you're putting in is going into an account. And now what's going to happen is you're going to get an interest credit. And that interest credit is going to be based on the performance of the index you're in, right? What's nice about it is that there's a floor, meaning if the index, the S&P 500 or whatever index you're in drops, you're not participating in those downs. But what the insurance companies are doing is they're going to limit or cap your upside potential. As you can see, there are actually many different types of universal life insurance, all of which are not whole life insurance. And one of the distinct differences is that inside of universal life insurance, there's an increasing cost on that insurance every year. The guaranteed universal life insurance is a contract with the insurance company that says, no matter what, as long as you pay this premium, we'll pay a death benefit. But if you don't pay the premium, that death benefit's going to go away. Any other type of universal life insurance has a cash account. And the hope there is that the cash account grows because that cash account growth can help offset any increasing insurance costs. And you can see when there's trouble in the markets in a variable universal life, or even when there's super low interest rates in a universal life, we could have trouble down the road where the insurance company may ask you for more premium. The answer here is no, universal life is not whole life insurance. And if you want to learn more about whole life insurance, check out this video right here.